Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great Tuesday so far, and welcome to a new market update video. Wanted to do a full update here about the current Bitcoin price action, which has been quite volatile. It started off quite bearish, but we've seen a bit of a recovery over the course of the last hour, I think. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about XRP, and then we'll talk about some altcoins. I wanted to talk about altcoins in general. So we'll take a look at others. And then also to some specifically, so XRP, SUI, and Solana, I think. Maybe also Ethereum, but I'll see if we have time for that. Now, before we get into that, bit of a promotion, but this is an authentic promotion because it's the exchange I use the most as well. And that's Blofin. I'm affiliated with Blofin, right? I work with them very, very tightly. And we set up a new campaign, as you can see right here. Hopefully you can see that. Like I said, this is the main exchange I use for trading. I only promote exchanges I personally use as well. Blofin is great. Blofin has all the coins you need to trade, or at least you'd want to trade. The fees are very low, and right now we have a new campaign where if you deposit, you actually get free money, right? So you get a dollar bonus depending on how much you deposit. And then also more if you actually trade on Blofin. So make sure to use the link down in the description if you do want to sign up. These are real bonuses, right? So if you use these bonuses to trade, you can use them for transaction costs and to trade, and you can actually keep the profits of the trading from those bonuses. So great deal. Check it out. Like I said, I personally endorse Blofin as well. It's what I use. It's where I have most of my money on as well. So check that out. But now let's get into the video, and hopefully you skip that if you're not interested in that. But alright, so generally the markets today, this is layer, that's not interesting, but generally the markets today a little bit more fearful. The S&P 500 opened a little bit lower, as you can see, while gold is trending higher. And the volatility index also opened higher, so there seems to be a little bit more uncertainty in the markets. Could be for multiple reasons. There seems to be a bit of escalation in Asia. There seems to be some escalation in the Middle East, so that doesn't help, of course. But in the end, it's also a bit of speculation about what's causing that. But that means that the S&P 500 has opened lower. And is now filling the gap we left to the upside, but there's no guarantee that this will not reject after filling the gap. So I would be a little bit more on the cautious side as well, because what we've seen from Bitcoin so far is not great. I mean, I have to say, with the volume coming in this US session, I'm pretty happy with that, right? So we held this level here at 93,600. Spiked down a bit lower towards the previous quarter VWAP, so that's good. But even with this reaction, I'm not totally convinced yet, and that's for multiple reasons. First of all, I mean, like I said, yeah, this is good, right? So we had volume coming into Bitcoin here, which I very often say, you know, we need volume from support. But so far, I mean, how far has it taken us to 94,600? Even though our main resistance is 95,400, right? We need to break above that if we want to get bullish, and we're not getting that far, and we reject quite easily and quite early. You can still see we have a Coinbase Bitcoin discount right here, and like I said, the general financial markets also seem a little bit less stable and less strong. So therefore, even though this is great, and we might have Sailor buying some more Bitcoin, that's all possible, and we can certainly still see that move into 95,400. However, I don't see enough strength unless we get some very positive news for crypto to break out above that. So I still think that we possibly have a move into 95,400, but ultimately I think it's most likely we'll still push back into 93,200. And then from there, I do expect support, and I think we have a possibility to reclaim 93,700 from there. Hopefully some of you still watch my Bitcoin video this morning, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But hopefully we can find some stability there. So stability, I do still think is most likely. But I do think stability around the current levels, potentially a little bit lower, instead of towards 95,000. But that's as I see it right now. Like I said, if we get some sort of fundamental change, if we get some good news and the S&P 500 is able to rally up higher, that would be great. And then we can actually find some stability around 95,000 and potentially even break out. But that's, look, I'll keep you updated on that. For now, that doesn't seem most likely. So yeah, talking about some altcoins. XRP, pretty decent over the course of today, has bounced from this level here at 2.09. We saw a bit of a 3 drive pattern here, so that's great, but I would also still say that even though short term we could rally a bit higher, that there's too much resistance and not enough strength to break out, and that therefore I still expect that continuation into 2.05 for XRP. This is. Talking about some more altcoins, I know a lot of you are interested in SUI. Yesterday we were unable to get the reclaim here for SUI, which we also talked about in a video, that then it was most likely we would revisit 3.2. So now SUI is quite stable between 3.2 and 3.45, but because of the rejection we saw yesterday, I would say it's a little bit more likely to drop down towards that $3 mark. And for Solana needs to break above 144, 145 very quickly. I would say next 24 hours. Otherwise, which was expected, if you watch my video on Solana this morning, otherwise we're going to drop into 136, which seems most likely right now, as it did this morning, right? So I did a video on Solana this morning. There we talked about this breakdown. We expected it. We predicted it. So nothing out of the ordinary, although bearish. And then, like I said, to end this video, I quickly wanted to look at others, which is basically the total market cap of altcoins, excluding the top 10 coins. And unfortunately, there we can also see that we have broken down below a major support zone. So I gotta say that that generally, talking about the markets right now, it's not looking great. Bitcoin dominance is rallying. I expect Bitcoin to remain relatively stable here. I think we have a good chance to do that. But the majority of altcoins will most likely trend down lower. And those are my thoughts. That's what I think you need to know. If you do have any questions, let me know down in the comments. But for now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.